Hello again, beautiful artists, and welcome back to another episode of Paint Along with Skye. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Skye, and I post beginning level acrylic painting tutorials here on YouTube every Saturday. So make sure to hit subscribe so you can join the fun and paint along. Hello again, beautiful artists, and welcome back to another episode of Paint Along with Skye. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Skye and I post beginning level acrylic painting tutorials here on YouTube every Saturday. So make sure to hit subscribe so you can join the fun and paint along. All right, so it is the holiday season, my favorite time of year. We have a really fun and festive Santa Gnome acrylic tutorial for today's lesson. I'm gonna be using my 4 standard brushes. So I have my big square brush, this medium-sized pointed brush, and then 2 of my detail brushes, so 1 small and 1 extra small detail brush. I'm gonna get those in my water cup off the side of the screen. The colors that I'm going to start with today for my background step, I have an emerald green, also a phthalo green, which is a green that has some blue in it, and then a little bit of black and white. If you'd like to see a full materials list of everything that you need to paint along, go ahead and check the description box below. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. I'm gonna be using my biggest brush to start. And we're gonna be working in the sky up here. So big brush, a little bit of water always helps that acrylic paint go nice and smooth. And I'm just gonna start with just some white, just to get it up in this top area here. I'm gonna add some gray as well, but even the white part of the canvas, we do want to fill in with a little bit of paint just so it looks nice and consistent. What we're gonna be doing is bringing a sort of streaky gray, maybe about 2/3 of the way down our composition here. Okay, so just adding some streaks in here, very light, like a wintry day. Just a couple stripes, add some interest there in our background, and then I'm just gonna grab some white and sort of blend those away. Really simple first step, and you can add a little bit more once you get going. All right, so you can see that kind of blends it away with the white, and then I can just add some more gray right into it as well, and it's sort of a back and forth play, and these sort of streaks that I'm getting, that's the idea there, right? That's what we're going for. All right, a little bit of white here, getting that brush going up and down here, and that is looking just about right. Just gonna kind of finesse it, if you will. A little bit more black in here because I want just a little bit more bold gray, just in a couple places. So now I'm gonna add some snow flurries later. I wanna have some contrast with the white, but the snow flurries are gonna be against this gray background. Okay, pulling that down here almost to the bottom. Somewhat straight up and down. Not perfect. That is okay. No such thing as perfection. Okay. But it's looking good. Okay, now we're gonna do some trees. I'm actually going to use my medium-sized brush for that. And I'm gonna grab my emerald green here, but I'm just gonna add a pinch of black into it, just for a nice dark forest green. A little bit of water in there, as always. Okay, now I'm gonna do sort of in this mid-ground here, so we're almost sort of breaking this visually up in 2/3. So in this kind of mid layer, we're going to add some festive pine trees, okay? And it should blend with the gray a tiny bit. That's totally fine because those colors, the gray is just gonna tone it down a little bit. And we're using a pretty vibrant tone, or a pretty vibrant hue here with the green. So to tone it down a little bit is no big deal. Go with the flow there. We're gonna bring this tree line down relatively far because this is gonna be where our snow is. So it kind of looks like a floating tree right now because we're working our way from the background to the foreground, as one does with acrylic painting. But we are going to want to be mindful that we're going to have our little snowbank down there. So we don't have to go all the way down. Floating trees are okay for now. I'm just using kind of the tip of my brush and flicking the wrist out very daintily. And you don't want to just have them going out in either direction. You also kind of want to have them coming down straight because you'd be looking at some dead on. So that's something that I see a lot with my students, is they'll just have brush strokes on either side. And you really want to get a couple of those right down the center as well. Okay, and it really adds to it. Okay, that's looking good. So we're gonna have kind of like a curved hill here. And I'm gonna have sort of like a space in the middle, and that's going to visually be where my little Santa gnome is. So cute. Okay, so leave a little bit of space, but it's also okay if we have our gnome overlapping some of the trees as well. That's why we're doing this from the background to the foreground. Okay, just adding some cute little trees for our little winter wonderland. At first I started out painting a gnome that I thought was going to be Santa's helper. Turned out to be Santa himself. So this is Santa as a gnome rather than one of Santa's elves, commonly confused. All right, you can see a little bit of that dark green in there. I feel like it goes a long way. And let's do one more to kind of sort of frame our Santa gnome. And just coming all the way down with that one too. Very nice. If you'd like a little bit more control, you're welcome to use the small brush for this, like one of the smaller detail brushes, probably the not quite so small, medium size small. For a little bit more control, I'll show you what that looks like. So if I were to take this brush, it can help you kind of bring these trees maybe up into a nicer point and add some cute little treetops if you want, just for a little bit more narrow of a brush stroke. Give it a try. Sometimes I like to do it with both. Okay, that's looking good. All right, now we're going to work with our snowbank. What we want to do is take our white here all the way up to the top, and it is going to kind of pull through your green a little bit for this first line here. I'm going to kind of go off the side there, and then I'm going to fill that in with white. And we do want some green of the tree, but probably not as much as it's going to pull through here for just a second. Let me rinse that out a little bit more. Yeah, so not too green of snow, but we do want to get this first layer on here, and it's okay if there's a little bit of green. And we're actually going to add a little bit of phthalo here in just a minute. But for now, I'm going to work from the bottom up here. Then I'm going to get to the top here and try to have minimal pull through there. So just a few brush strokes and then kind of wiping off my brush. So we can have our trees sort of reflecting in the snow, but you don't want to have all green snow. So I'm trying to keep it somewhat white. A little bit of wet on wet blending. It doesn't need to be a perfect oval shape here. It can be a little bit wonky because our snow would sort of be piled up in certain areas. Okay, it's looking good. A little bit more white. And yeah, that's really blended into green, but I kind of like it. We're working with it. I think a little bit higher maybe on this side. I don't want to go too small with our hill. Okay, that's looking good. And we'll go ahead and clean up that white a little bit more later. Let's go ahead and grab a little bit of that phthalo green while we still have this area wet, and we're just going to throw some of that gorgeous phthalo in there too, just so we have a different color. Very wintry and pretty. Okay, let's go ahead and let this layer dry, and we're gonna come back and add a whole bunch more. So I'll see everyone in a few. Okay, welcome back, artists. We have a dry background and also fresh colors on the piece of palette paper here. So I have a little bit more of my gorgeous phthalo green, a little bit of an ultramarine type blue, a burnt sienna type warm brown, and just a little bit of yellow that I'll use to make a skin tone color. And then black, white, and a fair amount of red. I rinsed my brushes and got fresh water at break as well. All right, let's go ahead and jump right back into it. So, rather than working on the background and finishing up that area, which I'm kind of itching to do, I think I'd like to instead work on our gnome a little bit, and we'll kind of jump around. So just follow along and I'll lead you every step of the way. All right, I'm gonna use my second to smallest small brush here, and I'm gonna mix up a little bit of a skin tone color. You could do any skin tone that you like. Gonna kind of match my own skin tone as a egotistical moment, I suppose. So I just added a little bit of yellow into some brown, and just gonna create a beige, a light beige. And I'm going to be just doing his nose with this beige color, and that's really the only thing that I'll need to do with this color. And we're going to sort of center his nose, and that way we can kind of build his whole shape around him. So I'm gonna do kind of like a floating oval. That's going to be the first shape in my gnome. Okay, very simple. One little shape at a time. Very nice. You can also use your extra small detail brush if you'd like. I really like this size brush personally though. Okay, now I'm gonna grab a little bit of white, and I'm going to create his little mustache. So just two little shapes that meet at the point, just like so. Two lines on either side. Perfect. And then just match that on the other side. Kind of come in a little bit and then back out and around for a little bit of a teardrop type shape for that mustache. Okay, getting all those brush strokes going the same direction. Like so. Okay, very nice. And now, let's make that come from underneath his nose just a little bit more. Adjust that shape slightly. Always starting small so that I can make things bigger if I need to. All right, and then the beard shape, you can kind of have come to a point as well. Just like so. I think it should be a little bit bigger. Once again, always starting smaller. Nice. Okay, then just filling in that shape as well with the white. And again, being mindful of the direction that our brush strokes are going. Nice. Floating nose and mustache. Perfect. While I have that white, I'll go ahead and add a little highlight on the nose. Why not? Okay, and now for the main body shape. So I rinsed my brush, still using that same size brush. And let's take a little bit of black into our red. just for a richer color rather than that super bright red. Okay, I'm gonna start with like the main body shape. I'm gonna do kind of a smooshed oval coming from right where the beard meets the mustache. That's gonna be that main kind of belly of our gnome. Then we're gonna have two arms that come out as well, kind of from the side. And just matching that on either side there. And that'll be kind of a bigger arm shape there. Okay, I think I'm gonna use my smallest brush now for the last few shapes here. Gotta be careful of those drips. So I'm gonna take black and right underneath that main shape, I'm gonna create those two ovals for his feet. Kind of creating a paint by numbers for ourselves, getting all those areas sketched out, but with our paint. Okay, that'll be his feet, and then his hands. We're gonna do those now as well. So start with a little curved brush stroke, and then the top part for the mitten, and then the thumb, like so. Okay, and once we have the hands, it'll be a little bit easier to fill in the arms. So getting all those main shapes traced out, sketched out here. Okay. Looks very good. And then let's also create our little box gift shape. And then when we fill it in, we're gonna kind of understand things a little bit better. Looks a little weird right now, but trust the process. So just a little bit of blue here. And I'll create a little box, just like so. Like he's holding it. Super cute. Could be whatever shape package you like. I think I'm gonna make mine a little bit more rectangular. And I got a drip there. So we'll come back and clean that up later, but then we're gonna start filling in these shapes that we just created. Okay. And we're just kind of working on the bottom half of the body here. So we still got that hat. And a lot of details to sort of finish every area off. All right, let me grab my medium-sized brush again for filling in. I'm just gonna take that dark red. And so his arm is gonna be connected to that black mitten, like so. So as we fill it in, we are always being conscious of our brush stroke direction. Okay, a little bit more black in there. And then for some of these areas, I may want a smaller brush. All right, just the base colors right now. That was a fair amount of technical details for this painting. So give yourself a pat on the back if you've made it this far. Got a little intense, didn't it? Let me know in the comments section below if you've made it this far. All right, And just getting that nice and filled in, adjusting the shape if needed. Okay, and the bottom here, I'm gonna kind of flatten it because this is actually like a really oversized coat that goes all the way to the ground. But he's got a really round body, so we did that round shape. Okay. It's okay if you sort of lose track of your arms versus your body here. We'll find that again later. Looks nice. Just the initial shapes here. Just rinsing my brush a little so I can go in with a little bit less paint on there. Nice vibrant red, love that color. All right, little details here. The shapes, the sort of whimsical cartoon character type shapes are always the trickiest. They look easy, but there are details. Very gentle brushstroke pressure here. If you're good at sketching, you'll be good at this kind of work. Okay, that looks good. And before we move into the upper part, let's go ahead and just fill in those black shapes as well. Looking very cute. Trust the process, don't give up. Okay, little black shoes and little black mittens. Just like so. It's very satisfying to see all the shapes filled in. All right. My very, very tiny detail brush. I'm just gonna get those last few tiny little areas just because I am a stickler for detail. All right, looks great. Let's work on the hat now of our gnome. He's looking very cute. I really like it. All right, so I have a clean second to smallest detail brush. I'm just going to dip that in white. And I'm going to do the bottom furry part here of our cute little Santa hat. Okay. You just want to bring that all the way down to go right on top of his little nose. Super cute. And then you can just fill that in, just like so. Gonna have all of our brush strokes in here going with that shape. Very nice. I think while I'm working on that sort of nose area, I'm gonna just correct one little shape really quick. The top part of the nose here, I went a little bit too far down. And then it now meets that highlight, so I wanted to bring some skin color back up so they don't blend together too much. Okay, and then same brush. It was just a little sidetracked moment there, don't mind me. So back now to our red and the top part of our hat. We're gonna have sort of like a triangular shape to start. And then on one side, and you can kind of go on either side you like here, we're gonna have nice elongated hat that comes up, around, and connects on the other side. Okay, so it's triangularly shaped here, very whimsical for that top curve. Very cute. And just filling in that shape with that same color red to match his suit, of course. Okay, looks good. Just like so, just fill that in with that color. Very cute. All right, looks good. And then rinsing my brush. And with some white, just going to make a little ball at the end of the hat. So cute. All right, let's leave our little Santa Gnome shape alone just for a minute or two while we let those main shapes dry. Now we're gonna work back into the background and finish those areas off. So clean brush, gonna grab my white and I'm going to go into my trees and add some snow. So this is just very similar to the type of brush stroke that you used creating the trees themselves, because this is going to be the snow that has fallen upon those lovely green branches of our evergreen trees. Very nice. Just like so. And don't forget to have the ones that are sort of facing up and down. A little bit on every tree. Patient with this one. Very nice. Every little brush stroke matters. I think that just adds such a nice touch. Okay. Very nice. And now I'm going to take a little bit of that white, nice clean white, and bring that up around my trees and sort of cover some of that light green that I created earlier. But you want to see a little bit of that light green too. It's going to be a little bit of a play there. Back and forth until you feel like you like it. You want to have some clean white snow and then some reflective snow and make it look like it's coming right up to the tree. Very pretty little snowstorm. And around our little gnome's feet. Very nice. Okay, while I'm working in that snow, let's go ahead and grab a little bit of gray and shadow where our gnome is standing. So just gray, black and white together. A little bit darker there. And just right around where he's sitting in the snow there. Just a little bit of horizontal lines. We'll give that a little bit more placement, like so. Okay, looking good. Going to now go back into my Santa a little bit, and I'd like to just kind of perfect those feet. You may not need to, but I seem to have gotten a little bit sloppy from before, so just want to clean that up a little bit. Okay, you can clean up any other areas that might need it with that base color before we add our highlights and shadows. So I don't want to see any of that tree through the paint. You got to make sure that you have nice coverage. Okay. Nice. Okay, so cute. Let's go ahead and let's grab our smallest little brush. And I'd like to go back into his little mustache area now, also with that gray that we just made for ourselves. Okay, and then little quick brush strokes right where his mustache sort of begins. And then also here from where his beard begins. And you're going to start flicking a couple brush strokes down the beard. So down the center there, and then on either side here, kind of refining the shape. And then even though we don't see the very tip there of the beard, we'll have some brush strokes coming up, like so, and a few sort of going through. And now a little bit of brush strokes coming from either side of the nose there. And then also along the sides to sort of refine those shapes. Like so. And a little bit, tiny bit of brush strokes coming from the end as well. And if you go too heavy-handed anywhere, just go ahead and grab some of that white and throw that right back on top. No problem. Little bit of a darker gray now. And I actually went a little bit too far out again with my mustache. So I'm just gonna have that come a little bit more towards the center there. And then with a little bit of a dark gray, I'll go ahead and refine those shapes. So like so, right where the mustache begins and the beard meets it. Okay, that's looking good. Few little tiny darker shadows, like so. Super cute. Now let's take that gray up into the other white areas here. So again, just a little bit of that dark gray. Going to refine the shape around the top part here of his hat that's on his forehead. Just like so, super cute. And you can take a little bit of a darker brown or beige and go right around the nose, being careful not to bring a drip. Little tiny bit, just on the end of the brush, like so. Very nice. Just like so. Super cute. Coming together. And then with that gray, again, just kind of working my way up here. Gonna do just a few little back and forth brush strokes, like so, just to add some texture. And then we'll take that gray around our little pom-pom as well. And you can do a few little brush strokes inside of it as well. And then let's work on our hat. Actually in the home stretch here, folks, so don't be discouraged. The hard part is over. Taking a little bit of a dark red now, so a little bit more black into my red. Gonna add a few little brush strokes throughout to add some texture into that hat. And we'll also take that dark red along the outside of that shape. And that'll give it just a little bit more tidy of a look. Bit more definition here. Okay. And on the inside too. Subtle details make a big difference. Okay. Super cute. All right, down back in the body, just a few little details. Get everything finished up down there. Gonna grab my medium, or I guess second to smallest size detail brush, and add a couple little cuffs here, right where his mittens meet the wrists, just like so. And then with my dark red, just rinse that same brush. I'm gonna do a couple little brush strokes right where the arms meet the body, just like so. And then some highlights on the outside there of the arms. Very nice. And then down by his feet, with that dark red, I'm gonna do two little shadows right above the feet, like so. And we can also sort of outline the whole Santa shape, just like so. To just finish that off, make it look nice and clean. Super cute. Okay, let's grab our small detail brush for the present details. Adorable. Gonna grab a little bit of a more vibrant blue. And right on top of my present, I'm going to have a little bow. And then I'm going to outline my present with that vibrant blue. And then right down the center, let's take some white as a ribbon. Right down the center like so, and across like that. And we can take some white into that bow as well. A little bit more dark blue on the outside. Just like so, but it's okay if it looks a little bit whimsical. That's the idea. Okay. Cute. And then a little bit of white right on the shoes. A little shine mark, like so. Super cute. Loving it. All right, little final details here. Let's grab the second to smallest brush. I'm gonna do a little snow flurries. So I'm gonna take my gorgeous phthalo green. I'm going to add a fair amount of white. And I'm going to do some swirls here in the sky. Just like so on one side and on the other. Perfect. You can do a few brush strokes sort of around them very lightly, just to add a little bit of a frosty feeling. Nice. Okay, rinsing that brush. Now I'm going to grab a little bit of white and go right along those same spiral shapes, very light-handed here. Just a little bit here and there. And we have to have some snow flurries along with our little blustery wind here. So I'm going to flip that brush over and add a few little snow flurries throughout my whole composition. A little bit here back on the trees, and maybe even some here in front of our Santa. That's not stopping him. He's coming to bring presents for all the good boys and girls for Christmas time. Okay. And that is all the instruction that I have for everyone this week. So I do hope you enjoyed today's painting tutorial. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments section below. If you painted along today, I'd love to see your masterpiece. I've created a Facebook group called the Art Club where you can come and share your work. So check the description box below for a link to join that as well. And that is all I have for us. So until next time, stay creative and happy holidays.